Good afternoon to all of you. This is the first press conference of our ECI, our European Citizens Initiative, Stop 5G, Stay Connected but Protected. And you're all most welcome. We will have a number of speakers. All of it, as you can hear, is in the English language, because that's for the most Europeans the most effective language at the time. We first will have a presentation of Mrs. Schriever from Denmark. She's the coordinator of the ECI, and she will give us a presentation on the objectives of the same and what we want to reach the European Commission and the European Union to do. Then we have a presentation of Mrs. van Vuren about electrohypersensitivity, how people get aware of the fact that they are vulnerable to electromagnetic radiation and what the consequences are of the same. Then we have a presentation of Professor Buchner. He's a former member of the European Parliament, and he will speak about the scientific information there is, the scientific proof, if you like, of the relation between wireless radiation and the health consequences. He has written a book about the health consequences of mobile communication with the title of 5G, Waanzin. And the title itself is very clear about the view that he has on the topic. And he wrote the book together with Dr. Kraut. It's all in German, so for the German participants of this conference, it is a most valuable book to read. So we have the experience of someone with the health effects of EMF, as well as the scientific background, and all the scientific knowledge we have on the subject really is immense. And we are very surprised also about the variety of the impact it has. So, Mrs. Schriever, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Rob. And I will just share my screen. I will see if that will work. Good. So I'll just present myself. My name is Pernille Schriever. I am from Denmark, and I am a biologist and an environmental advisor. I have actually, I'm also representing the Danish EHS Association in this ECI. And I'm very, very privileged to be the coordinator for this great ECI. I've been working together with many talented and dedicated people for the past year and a half to reach to this launching event with the Stop 5G, Stay Connected but Protected. And I would very much like to stress that we are not against technology. We are for safe technology instead. And that is what all this ECI is all about. First of all, I will, can you see this slide here now?
Yeah.
Yes, good. I will go through and explain some of the procedures around the ECI. And if you want to read more, there's a link at the bottom. And ECI is an official tool provided by the EU for citizens who want to propose new laws to the EU, as we want to do. After a year, when we have 1 million signatures and more, then we are invited to present the proposals to the EU Commission, where we actually can exchange views at all. So with the EU Commission as also. Then the organizers are given an opportunity to present the initiative at a public hearing held by the Parliament as well. So it's not only the EU Commission that we talk to, it's also the Parliament. The Parliament has the opportunity to hold a plenary debate and adopt a resolution in order to assess political support for our initiative. Then the Commission is required to respond to our initiative within 3 to 6 months. So we will get a reply from the Commission. They have to provide a formal list of actions. So it's not only a reply, but they have to give us a list of actions they will do to take a clear timeline for their implementation as a response to our ECI. Finally, actually, the Parliament will investigate the actions taken by the Commission in response to the initiative. And everybody can read more about this in the link below. We have made this overview chart to give people a more easy overview of what an ECI is and what our ECI is about. All ECIs has to be organized by 7 EU countries, and in our case, it's Denmark, Germany, Czech Republic, Finland, the Netherlands, Ireland, and Slovakia. And we have created the ECI Stop 5G, Stay Connected but Protected. We have 3 main topics around health, environment, and privacy. And regarding health, we have actually sent in 10 proposals for new laws to the EU. And regarding environment, there's 8 proposals. And regarding the privacy, it's 5 proposals for new laws in the EU system. And you can read more about these proposals at our webpage, science.5g.eu. What we are about to do now is to start the signature collection on 1st of March, and we have to collect over 1 million signatures to force the EU Commission to deal with our 23 proposals. So that is the exciting thing about this launching events on Tuesday, March 1st, that we are starting to collect over 1 million signatures for this ECI. And one of the other rules around the ECI is that we actually have to have 7 countries that shall reach a minimum amount of signatures. That is another rule that we have to get within a year. Yes, the 3 main topics of our ECI as a response to the pervasive consequences of 5G and Internet of Things, because that's a part of the 5G as well, is that it's harmful to life. I'll get into more details in a minute. Destroying our environment, and it is a threat to our privacy. Regarding the topic harmful to life, we have known, many of us have been working with this issue for many, many years, and lots of scientists has done that as well. So it's not a surprise that it is actually the consequence of radiation pollution is we have been warned for many years from the mobile technology 2G, 3G and 4G. And we have a lot of studies that backs up us that is actually telling that it is harmful to life. We have the NTP study, the Ramazzini studies that show development of cancer in rats, and in the EU-funded reflex study as well that shows oxidative stress, which can cause DNA damage and later on in life actually also cause cancer. And for mobile phone users, there are scientific evidence of other health effects, fertility problems, effects on the brain, and so on. And at the link below, you can read more about all these scientific evidence that we actually base our ECI upon. Regarding destroying our environments, we are told that 5G is actually a solution to the climate change, but if you go into the details and make some calculation, it is far from what is true. And 5G will be actually what we call an energy hawk, consuming a lot of electricity. The digital ecological footprint will reach its peak with 5G in many ways, and our electronic devices have a large environmental impact, I'm afraid to say. Example, our phones contain many rare earth metals and minerals, which in the mining process, that is actually a bit scary to read about, often produce more than 2,000 tons of toxic waste for only 1 single ton of metal produced. And you can read more about all the consequences on the environment in the link below. The last and our third main topic is threatening our privacy. As we know, big data, that's the new gold. And with 5G, there'll be even more big data. The data brokers are accumulating billions and trillions of data points worldwide. Massive personalized digital profiles are created about each of us, even though we maybe not think about it on a daily basis. Harvesting our personal details go far beyond what many of us can imagine, and our personal details are sold, leaked, or stolen for advertising, influencing, tracking, or surveillance purposes. And we see that these things more and more on a daily basis. And you can read more about the concerns we have at the link below. So our proposals, our 23 proposals, is a suggestion for solutions on these threats for our daily lives. And the first one is that we would want to protect all life from microwave radiation. And as an example of, we have 10 proposals on health, and one example is the exposure limits. We ask to be based on all health and biological effects, and not only on those related to temperature as it is now. And we want protection for the environment from all impacts of 5G. And example of a proposal on that issue is that we ask for environmental assessment on the 5G deployment and all telecommunication. And that is, we do not see that now, not even on 2G and 3G and 4G. It's not done. And last, we want protection of our privacy, security, and freedom. And an example of that in our proposal is that we ask for impact assessment of the effect of 5G on personal data protection. So with this ECI, we actually have many goals. First of all, we have to reach more than 1 million signatures, and we are all sure that we will reach that because many people are concerned about this 5G issue. And it's not only us in the ECI group. We have a goal to get support and contact in all EU countries, and we are actually almost there. I think we only need 2 countries, and then we have support from all 27 EU countries, and that is very good. That is a very robust ECI we have here when all 27 EU countries are supporting this ECI. Then we would very much like to cooperate with a broad range of groups and organizations throughout Europe, and that could be other radiation protection groups, organizations. We have actually right now a lot of EHS organizations from the EU that is working with the ECI. We would very much like to get in touch with environmental protection groups as well, and groups that work with privacy protection also. Then we have a network. We cooperate with a broad range of international organizations as well that is concerned about the 5G issue. And at least we are about to establish an organization called Europeans for Safe Connections, and that is in progress. So where can you sign this ECI and get more information? Because we have a lot of information, and we always backed up by science. We do not say anything that is not scientific proof. So you can go to the sign-stop5g.eu, that is our own webpage, and read more about our ECI and the proposals that we have sent to the EU. And you can actually go to the EU webpage as well with this long link here and read about the proposals. And we have a detailed annex as well I think it's 82 pages with a lot of scientific proof in there. And both our webpage are in all EU languages. I hope our own is soon to be in all EU languages. The EU webpage is in all EU languages, so you can select your own language and read about the ECI there. So I think that is what I would like to say. Thank you very much for listening. I will stop sharing here.
Thank you very much, Pernille, for sharing the information about the our European Citizens Initiative. And then I would invite Mrs. van Vuur to give a presentation on EHS. And I think
I'm unmuted now.
Yeah,
So,
and there is
hello.
the presentation is coming. There it is.
Hello, everybody. I'm an electrosensitive person, and I would like to tell you about EHS. EHS stands for Electrohypersensitivity. The word sensitivity is often misunderstood. It means being vulnerable to. Almost everybody is vulnerable to something, and some are more than others. So, electrohypersensitivity means being vulnerable to electromagnetic fields. And then we mostly mean the fields from electricity and from radiation from wireless communication. Electrosensitive people are just like everybody else. Take me, for instance. I had a normal life. I graduated at university, and I got also a master's degree at another one. I found a good job. I built my own business, and later on I became partner in a consultancy firm. I was married, I had a family, I had a nice house, and I had a good income. So, all I ever dreamt of was there, and the future just looked so bright. And yet, over the course of time, it became more and more clear that something was interfering with my life. I was well trained, I biked a lot, used to run twice a week, and suddenly in 1998, my heart rate for hours didn't come down after running. And whatever I tried, I never could run again. Other strange things started to happen. I could get total blackouts. At the office, I got trouble thinking, so I tried to work at home, in the attic, but there the problems were the same. Downstairs was the only place where I could get things done. And in the meantime, there was this exciting development of the mobile phones going on. I really loved it. When these became available for the common public, I was one of the first to have it. I no longer would have to hurry home to find out if my clients had called me. This phone meant freedom to me and more business. I thought I should have a camera on it and an agenda and a dictaphone. And I thought, what takes them so long to develop these things? I didn't understand. I couldn't see that these wireless developments could be the cause of my health problems. I didn't even think things like that were possible. I just felt guilty being this weak, that my situation got worse every day. In 2001, I had to give up. I was exhausted. I had terrible headaches and my body ached everywhere. I got several infections at the same time. I took all the necessary steps to recover, but wasn't able to. All the physicians acknowledged my being ill, but couldn't find cause. No one could help, and so after 2 years I was still sick, and in the end I lost my job. It took another 6 years to find out the real cause. At that time I was terribly ill. I was dizzy all the time. I had a swollen face. I was in constant pain, and when taking walks, often my blood sugar level got too low. I could no longer take in any information. I couldn't bear noise nor light. I always at the same step on the stairs, my legs seemed to refuse to bear me. And there was no place in the house left where it felt right anymore. I had my bed moved downstairs and it stayed there because it felt there was the best place to be. Then, two things happened that lead me to the cause. One day I took place behind a computer and my heart instantly started pounding hard. I couldn't stay there. I had to move away. Another time I turned on the light during the night, but I experienced such extreme pain that I had to turn it off. Just then I knew it all had to do with electricity. Then finally help came. Measurements proved I had found the best place in the house where the levels of radiation and fields from electricity were the lowest. The electricity got turned off. A cage of Faraday was built around my bed, and in that cage I finally was able to sleep again. They told me I'm EHS, and I didn't want that to be. I thought it was crazy. Well, maybe that it could be true for electricity, but radiation? No, never. In an instant I realized that this diagnosis would place me outside the normal life forever. But they proved being right. Living without wireless tools did help, as did the shielding of the house. And I noticed I couldn't be near antennas. Now I knew where they were. Since then, I always have to stay out of the fields. Over and over again, being in the radiation brings on symptoms again. As being an electrosensitive, I have to accept the constraints coming with it, or I can't live at all. What are those constraints? Well, I have to stay in the safe parts of my shielded house, and I can't use much electricity. I can be in the woods and in the dunes where there are no antennas, but further I can't go anywhere. I can't go by train nor plane. I can't take part in all kinds of activities. I can't go to church. I can't go to council meetings. I can't shop. I can't go see my friends nor family. And I hope I never have to be in hospital. I just can stay nowhere outside my house without getting sick. And I'm sure this is true for every person with EHS. No one is ever happy with this diagnosis. But despite the extreme consequences it may have, once one has found out repeatedly the symptoms fade away outside the fields, no doubts are possible whether one is electrosensitive. And that's why I think it's absolutely necessary for society to take into account the needs of the electrosensitive people. And that's why this ECI asks the EU for white zones, better exposure limits, amongst others. So I would like to thank you and I hope you will sign this ECI. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. van Vuren. The next speaker is Professor Buchner. Buchner, I should say, I think.
Very good. So my name is Klaus Buchner, and as you already said, I'm a former member of the European Parliament. Before this, I was a professor at Technische Universität München, Technical University of Munich. My research was very broad. I published also some papers on problems with electromagnetic radiation. Now, you may ask, why did I do it? There are thousands and really thousands of papers on this topic, showing very clearly that there is a health damage of this radiation. I just remind you of three studies which were already mentioned: STOA study of the European Parliament, Ramazzini study of the University of Rome. Well, it's connected to the STOA study, but the other study of the Ramazzini Institute is on animals, on rats and mice, showing also very clearly the effects as a generation of cancer even by this radiation. And there are some others. I want to mention it now. But why did I also take part in other activities? It's because this radiation acts on the cells themselves. That means on the building blocks of living matter, plants, animals, people. And destroying parts of that, of course, means you have a very large variety of effects. And I think you will never exhaust this list of effects, but it's worthwhile to study some of them. My first one was one of the very few long-time evaluations of these effects. There is a small village in the Bavarian forest called Rimbach, where there was practically no radiation before 2004. And then two base stations of D1 and D2 were built. We looked at certain substances in the blood and the urine of the residents immediately before the station started operations, then half a year later, 1 year later, and 1.5 years later. The stress hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline, grew significantly after starting the transmitter. And the values of the precursor substance, dopamine, decreased substantially, which is clear because adrenaline and noradrenaline are built from dopamine. Even after 1.5 years later, the initial conditions had not been restored. More important is phenylethylamine, terrible name, usually abbreviated with PEA. This dropped extremely, even for the weakest irradiation, between 0 and 60 microwatts per square meter. PEA cannot be ingested in the human body from medicines. It is replaced by Ritalin. Please remember that the consumption of Ritalin has increased by a factor of 85 since 1990. This is due to various facts, but clearly radio frequency radiation is one of them. In another publication, we looked at a pig farm where GSM 900 transmitters were built at a distance of about 300 meters. We had the data of 20,359 piglets, which were born before the operation of the transmitter, and 7,728 piglets born after the installation of the transmitter. Together, these were more than 28,000 animals. The transmitter caused a significant decrease of the fertility of the female animals, so much that the farm was no longer profitable. And I stress here the fact that these were the female animals, because there's a lot of literature on the decrease of fertility with male animals. But here we have clear evidence for female animals. For me personally, it was more important that we had comparatively many dysmorphic piglets. In a pig farm, one always has a certain number of abnormalities, about 1 per mil, 1 in 1,000 cases. In particular, piglets without anus and hybrids. But with a radiation of only 1,200 microwatts per square meter, and this is the peak, the maximum peak in this area, we had completely new types of abnormalities. For example, deformations of legs and head, and also piglets with open belly, where the intestine was visible. Not only visible, the belly was completely open. And this is a frightening fact because we observe similar things also for humans. The total number of abnormalities was about 1%. That means it was 10 times the number as compared to before the radiation started. Please remember that biologically, peaks are similar to humans. Now I'm looking forward to answer your comments and questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Buchner.
Can I have a last comment?
Yes.
Thank you, Rob. I will just stress to everybody, please go to our webpage and to the EU webpage and read about the ECI, because there's so much information. And regarding, it was Michael that asked about material. You can go to our webpage, the science.5g.eu, and there's a lot of material that you can download, or you can write Ella and ask for her to give you the material. And we will put up more material on this page here, so everybody has the opportunity to go out to the streets and advertise for this ECI, or make an ad in a newspaper, or put it up on Facebook. So we are trying really to put as much material on this EU page for everybody, and we are translating it to almost all languages. So please go to the webpage and spend some time reading what is there to read. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, you just got the impression of the material, but for those who were not have not yet seen this this website, you see at the top you see news, problems and solutions. With the issues which are distributed over problems and solutions, you actually can read the complete information we sent to the European Commission as the base for our requests.